Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. Oh my goodness, have we got an amazing show lined up for you tonight. I cannot wait for you to meet our special guest expert, Pamela Gregory. She is amazing, beyond amazing. She has an amazing mission and purpose, and I just can't wait to share her with you. Before we do that, real quick, the Mind Body Business Show. For those of you that might be new to the show, what is that all about? Well, it all starts with mind or mindset. When it comes to success, in my 54 years on this planet now, I've learned from those who are successful. I focused on those who were successful and found that there were patterns that developed in each of them that helped them to rise to their level of current success. And it all started with the foundation of all success in both business and personal life, and that is your mindset. And when you are able to master your mindset to serve you better, and oh, we're going to hit it tonight. I love it. I can't wait. Then you will be operating at a higher level of performance. And then there's body. What is that all about? Well, with the body, it's just what it says. It's nutrition. It's working out, taking care of your body. And so that you're operating the body at a peak level of performance as well. And I like to say the mind and body are a team. And even more importantly, the mind and body are your team. And so think of it like this. We have basketball playoffs going on right now. There are 5 players on the floor at any given time for each team. And let's say one of those players decided in the off season to take it easy and not practice, not stay in shape. And he's a starter and playing. And they go out on the court, just one player that's not operating at a peak level of performance. What do you think happens to the team as a whole? Yeah, you guessed it. They're not operating at their highest level. The same thing with mind and body. And then there's business. Business is multifaceted. It includes things like sales, marketing, team building, systematizing, and many other things. And when you are able to master each of those individual areas, you will see incredible improvements in your business and in your life. Now, when you combine all 3 and go after mastering all 3, and you are reaching it or you have mastered all 3, then I say you are at operating at what I call a level of peak performance, and hence the name of my company, Reach Your Peak. And it's amazing, about success, because I remember many years ago, going back, I had a mentor of mine who gave me some incredible advice. And what he said was amazing, but it was also, I made a huge mistake. And what he did, I was in his office. He was a multimillionaire CEO of a company, a corner office, top floor, all that, back east. And we were in the middle of striking up a deal. We had a contract to sign, and it was a 2-day trip. I spent 2 days in his office. I'm at one point sitting on the couch in his office. He's standing and talking to me, looking at me directly. And he said, Brian, at one point he said, Brian, if people only knew, if they just did this one thing, they would all be super rich. And I'm like, wow, I got my interest. So, okay, what is it? At that moment, he turned kind of coyly backward, went back to the opposing wall behind him, and there was a cabinet from floor to ceiling with 2 doors. He went back, he grabbed both handles, looked back at me, and opened them up. And what he revealed was very similar to what you see behind me right now. It was shelf after shelf after shelf of books. And he said, all they need to do is read. And more importantly, it's not just reading books, but reading the right books on business, on personal development, on health, wellness. It all goes together. And I made a huge mistake at that moment because I completely ignored that advice. I said to myself, it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. There's not enough skin in the game, I'm thinking. My goodness, I could literally go to a library. Remember those? You could go to the library and check out a book for free. So I didn't have to pay any money. If I needed to read these books, I wouldn't have to even pay any money. So I thought, that cannot be correct. But thankfully, many years later, I ran into another gentleman who would then become my mentor. And we worked together for years. I actually spoke from his stage, trained his students for half of their events. They had 2- and 3-day live events and over the course of time. And one day I remember being in his house and he's walking around with headphones on. And I was a little curious. This was some time ago as well. I said, well, hey, man, what are you doing? And he kind of lifts his little ear cuff, says, what, me? This? Yeah, I'm listening to a book. I said, wait, what? You're listening to a book? Okay, recognize back then Audible was brand new. So this was a new concept for me. And I thought, wow, okay, I got that advice over a decade ago, and now my mentor is not only telling me to do it, in fact, he's not. He's actually just doing it. He's showing by action. And I thought, okay, let me give that a shot. And oh my goodness, my world opened up because I found that I love listening to books. Everyone has their favorite way of ingesting information. Yours might be reading or watching video of a story, or it could be that you are okay with just listening. For me, listening is much easier. I ingest and retain much better. And so I began reading voraciously, book after book after book. Couldn't enough. And I used Audible. One of the great things with Audible is no matter where you are, I'm often listening to it in the car. It's like university on wheels. What else am I going to be doing? Listening to music or something else that's not serving me? It might be relaxing me, and that's okay on occasion for me. But most of the time, I'm listening to a book. And while I'm listening, Audible gives you this nice little feature. If you hear something that really compels you, that really jumped out, or you just want to go back and revisit, you can just tap this little icon, and what it is a bookmark. And it stores that position in time, and you can go retrieve that either on your Android or iPhone or Apple device, or even on the web, and go re-listen to it. And so that's what I began doing. I began just wearing that bookmark ribbon button out. And what I'm going to do tonight, right now for you, is share with you one little snippet in a segment I appropriately call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yeah, there you see to my side, that's reachyourpeaklibrary.com. And by the way, take out a notepad and a pen. You will want to take notes, not primarily for what I'm telling you now. You do want to include that, but really when Pamela Gregory comes on, which I promise is very, very soon. In other words, stay with us here now. Don't run off and look at these resources. Don't type in the URL. Stay with us, take notes, and then after the show's over, they're all recorded, they're all free. You can then go back to your notes and go check out those resources. Sound fair? Cool, cool. So you can see there, the number one reason for lack of success is not simply a lack of reading books. Again, it's the lack of reading the right books. And so I created this website due to my own experience of completely, discounting that gentleman's advice. I thought it's important for others to have a resource that they can go to where they don't have to guess. So what I did was I started compiling all the books that had impact on me personally. So not every book I've ever read is in this list. In fact, I'm actually quite a bit behind. There are about 40 though, or so, that are all in that genre, in business and personal development and fitness and health and wellness. And it just goes on. And there's roughly 40 in here now. I'm probably 20, 30, 40 behind. I don't know. I have to go back and revisit that. This I built for you. I built this website for you, the entrepreneur, the person that is either looking to start learning about entrepreneurship and really take it to the next level, or someone who's already doing very well and just wants another resource or library of someone's vetted list that they can go to and say, there might be a book or two in there that you haven't read. It's like, this happens to me all the time. Pamela, who's going to be coming on the show, will probably have a few suggestions for books herself. I wouldn't doubt it in the least. So what I like to do at this moment is actually go and play one of those bookmarks that I tapped on my phone at that time. And it's by a gentleman of the name of Stephen R. Covey. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Great book. Highly, highly recommend that you go grab a copy if you don't have it. I believe that one is on the site already. So what we're going to do is take a listen. It's about 1.5 minutes in length, but do take notes on this as well. And then I promise right after that, we are going to bring on our special guest expert. So go ahead, take a quick, close listen, and take notes.
It is called solution selling and is a key paradigm in business success. The response is usually agreement. Most people can see how powerfully such an approach would affect their opportunities for employment or advancement. but many of them fail to take the necessary steps, the initiative to make it happen. Oh, I don't know where to go to take the interest and aptitude tests. How do I study industry and organizational problems? No one wants to help me. I don't have any idea how to make an effective presentation. Many people wait for something to happen or for someone to take care of them. But people who end up with the good jobs are the proactive ones who are solutions to problems, not problems themselves, who seize the initiative to do whatever is necessary, consistent with correct principles to get the job done. Whenever someone in our family, even one of the younger children, takes an irresponsible position and waits for someone else to make things happen or to provide a solution, we tell them, use your R&I. That stands for resourcefulness and initiative, R&I. In fact, often before we can say it, they answer their own complaints. I know, use my R&I. Holding people to the responsible course is not demeaning, it is affirming. Proactivity is part of human nature, and although the proactive muscles may be dormant, they are there. By respecting the proactive nature of other people, we provide them with at least one clear, undistorted reflection from the social mirror.
All right, we'll stop it right there. And one of the biggest takeaways I got from that blurb was near the beginning of it, and that was a lot of people will wait to see if others will do things for them. And that is so rampant, especially in the corporate arena where I've come from years ago. And you're always looking for someone else to carry you, looking for that lucky lotto winning ball, things like that, instead of taking action, taking your own cause in life, and just continually moving forward. Take responsibility for yourself, for your life. And that's a common theme through nearly every book you'll see in this library. It's a common theme with every guest expert. Pamela's no exception. And as a matter of fact, guess what time it is right now? You guessed it. It's time to bring on our special guest expert.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Pamela Gregory. Woo-hoo, I'm so excited. Pamela, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. What I'd like to do is, real quick, before we formally introduce you, Pamela, is I want to remind our viewers that are watching live that they can, if they stay on to the end, they have the opportunity to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star resort in Mexico. And it's all compliments of a wonderful company called powertexting.com. Jason Ness and Rhonda both doing that company. And it's an amazing trip. It's not a timeshare. It's a legitimate vacation stay. So 5 nights, it's worth over $1,000. No kidding. So stay on with us to the very end. All right, now.
I was going to, but okay. Do I qualify?
Love it. So Pamela Gregory, she is an emotional fitness specialist. She began her career in the health and wellness industry over 30 years ago, where she worked as a fitness trainer and nutritional consultant. In 2003, her focus shifted to emotional fitness and the healing impact forgiveness has on one's health. By blending the science of psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how the mind and emotions affect the immune system. It's very interesting. And the spiritual practice of forgiveness. She developed a unique proprietary protocol called the Forgiveness Healing Process. Her intensive work with cancer patients at Utopia Wellness in Tampa, Florida, helped Pamela fine-tune her protocol to quickly ascertain the unique root cause of each patient's unhealed trauma, allowing them to achieve results where other methods have failed. Wait till you hear what she has to say about this. What Pamela has found is close to 100% of all illness, regardless of what it's called, is a symptom of an underlying, unresolved emotional condition. My goosebumps are poking through my jacket. This is amazing. I cannot wait to get into this at a deeper level with you, Pamela. And before we move on, because that's a great high-level view of what you do, what you stand for. Now let's go a little bit deeper and find out more about what makes you tick. Like when you get up in the morning, we all, our feet hit the ground, we hope, in the morning, and we get up. At that moment, we might be a little groggy, a little bit, not really there. But then something kicks in. This happens with every entrepreneur I've ever met, and it's that drive. And for you, that motivation. What comes through your mind? Maybe it's different things each day, but what comes through your mind that gives you that drive to get up and tackle the next day? Because let's face it, being an entrepreneur is no cakewalk. It can be a very difficult task in its own right. So what is it for you, Pamela, that motivates you when you get up each and every day?
It certainly can. I get very excited to start the day. I'm one of these people that do jump out of bed and head right for the coffee pot. Yes, I still drink coffee. It's my friend, but I only have 1 cup a day. So, but I start with a cup of coffee, and I love to journal. And I just get my day. I spend some, one-on-one time and spend my day focusing on, where do I want to go that day, depending on what kind of appointments I have, because every day is different. Being an entrepreneur and setting my own schedule, every day is different. And because I have a lot of international clients, my schedule's bizarre because I work a lot of different hours. But in the morning, it's all about focusing on, getting my day started off right and eating a healthy breakfast and that kind of thing, and the hot lemon and water and, that kind of thing. So, but I take some quiet time alone for myself and get centered first and, set the intention for the day. And when you set the intention, it sets into motion the kind of day you're going to have for the most part.
Fantastic. And, it is. It's kind of being an entrepreneur, you have to be cut from a different cloth, I think. And some people can cross over, even if they're not inherently built to be an entrepreneur. Many have successfully done that, but either way, it's a struggle. It's a nonstop, constant struggle. And the interesting thing is, most entrepreneurs, that's what they love about it, is that no 2 days are the same, and you have to really have your hustle on at all times in order to succeed, let alone stay above water, right? And so, there are a lot of peaks and valleys when it comes to running a business, running life in general, and it really takes a different mindset to enable you to get above and continue to maintain that level of success. So for you, Pamela, specifically, when it comes to maintaining that positive, productive, and successful mindset that you have, what do you do on a regular basis to sustain that? Is there something that you go to for that, aside from journaling, maybe at night, maybe books? I'm
a big believer of showering the mind. I mean, every day we have to shower our body so we can stay clean and fresh, and we have to do the same thing with our mind. So I'm a big believer and pusher of books, audio programs. I live on YouTube and I'm driving because I'm always, downloading. We have so much negative influence in our life on a daily basis, and if we're not consciously choosing to take better stuff, to make a better choice into what we're actually choosing to listen to and bring into my field, because I'm going to be, everything that I bring into my field, it's going to affect me, and then I'm going to affect everybody I come in contact with. So knowing all of this is very important to actually, walk my talk, so I can practice it and teach other people that, we got to download important information and positive thinking into our brains, because if we don't have the right thought process, the thought is what starts everything into motion in a healthy way or in a destructive way. And we really have to make those conscious decisions to do that. So
fantastic. Yeah, it all begins with our thoughts. As many of us who have mastered the mindset, we get that completely. And the cool thing is everyone can learn and train themselves to a point where it's going to become automatic. Now look, take notes. Pamela is doing exactly what the successful do. Feeding herself with nothing but positive, proactive, good, forward-looking information at all times. I was just, oh gosh, it reminds me, just the other day, my wife was asked, hey, did you see the story on the news? And I don't remember what the story was. And my wife didn't really answer, and she just says, I don't ever watch the news. It's too negative. And I was so proud to hear her say it out loud. I knew that she didn't. Neither of us do. And that's one reason, because, you know, it's a software saying, I'm a software engineer by trade, is, you know, if you put in bad data into your program, they call that garbage in. What comes out? Garbage out. Same with what you're talking about. We're programming our mind with everything we allow ourselves to ingest. That's really what the choice, right? We're allowing it to happen. No one's forcing it on us. If you're in someone else's, let's say you're in someone else's house and the news comes on, you don't want to watch it, get up and go in another room. You have the choice.
Right, exactly.
Really
one
simple.
of the worst things we can ever do is watch the evening news, because you're hearing, you know, this download of information right before you're going to sleep of all the negative things that are happening. And it's not to be in denial of what's going on in the world, you know, but again, it's like you choose when you allow it. But every thought that comes into our mind, especially in the evening as we go to sleep, you know, my tomorrow starts tonight. Okay, so it's what I'm thinking about as I'm going to sleep, you know, and so if I'm watching something negative, that's marinating in my mind like in a crock pot, you know. I mean, I'm going to have the result of those thoughts and everything in the morning when I wake up, and that's why some mornings we wake up and we think, well, why do I feel so crappy today, you know? And it's because what I was thinking about last night, and if I go to bed the night before and have negative thoughts or worry in my mind, you know, which bring up worry because I want to address that. But, you know, then I'm going to experience it the next day. So it's really important to, you know, again, choose what you're going to let into your field.
Your analogy is awesome. I mean, I'm thinking, you could coin that phrase, you know, crockpot success. I love that. It's sitting there stewing and marinating and, keeping warm overnight, getting all the flavors mixed in.
Did I really cook this last night?
Exactly, yeah. And then my tomorrow starts tonight. I love that. Oh, just by the way, so everyone watching, I hope you're taking notes because, look, I'm the director, producer, host, everything. I'm taking notes, so there should be no excuse for you, should there? Unless you're driving and you're listening to this on your phone, not watching it, I hope, live. So fantastic. And we opened the show, right, talking about a lot about the importance of books. And I've noticed a common thread. Would you consider yourself, Pamela, to also be a book reader, an avid reader? You're nodding. That's good. Do you have a specific one you're reading right now that you particularly like, or maybe do you have one in the past that really sticks out that's your favorite?
Well, one that sticks out from the past that changed the whole paradigm of medicine, as far as I'm concerned, is The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And I had the pleasure of meeting him it'll be almost 2 years ago, coming up already. And I told him, I mean, he changed the entire paradigm of medicine, but also the course of my practice, because I was already teaching the importance of forgiveness. And, you know, people think of that as a spiritual thing or a religious thing, but it's really, it's a very powerful healing modality in and of itself. And I can get into how I came across that later. But what Bruce's work did is it brought in the science of psychoneuroimmunology and how the mind and the emotions affect the immune system. So when I talk about letting go of anger and blame and shame and guilt and all of these things that we feel we need to forgive others for and forgive ourselves, which is really, all forgiveness is really self-forgiveness, because it's all about the story I make up about what happened. But that's, you know, depending on how much time we have in the show, we can get more into that. But Bruce's work is just amazing. So Biology of Belief, because what he taught is we are not a victim of our heredity, our genes. He brought the field of epigenetics out into the awareness of the world. I mean, he was the one that really coined that. And he'd been cloning stem cells since the 70s. And
wow.
You know, found that, you know, if the cell isn't thriving, you change its environment. And so we create our inner environment by how we're experiencing our outer environment. So Biology of Belief, by all means. It's a little dry in the beginning. If you watch the video of the lecture on YouTube or whatever, the first, you know, it's like watching paint dry, but it's no, but it's brilliant. I mean, once you get beyond it, you know, the first half, you know, it understand the importance of it. So Biology of Belief. And a new one that I just came across, a friend recommended to me, is called Fearvana. And I tried to write the author's name down, but it's a little complicated, so I didn't take note of it. But Fearvana is awesome because, you know, fear is such a big part of our lives, and we're programmed for fear. I mean, unfortunately, it seems that way anyway. and it helps you look at fear in a light that you embrace it instead of running from it. It's something you can turn it around. And as with anything, like forgiveness too, how you look at something, and changes how, if you change how you look at something, it changes everything. So give a new story to it, changes the forgiveness aspect, and also fear. So Fear Von is great.
Those sound like two very powerful books, and even if the beginning of one is like watching paint dry, if something is important, if something is important enough to you, I'm talking about the listeners, not to you, Pamela, to right the ship, then wouldn't you go through more and not just do it for entertainment purposes, but just get through it because it's that important? It's like, how many of us as little kids wanted to go to school? None of us. Well, very few. There are some that loved it. I wasn't one of those. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like going. I wouldn't go if I had the choice. Let's put it that way. And with things like these resources that Pamela is giving, I mean, Fear Vana, what a cool title. I love that. Fear, my goodness, there's a whole 5-hour show on that one by itself, because fear is really, and then we're talking about the subconscious level. That is the thing holding you, not Pamela, you, the watcher, listener, back.
I'm guilty too, trust me.
It is true, all humans. The cool thing is Pamela has the tools with which to right her own ship, to be aware of the fears cropping in, and put her program in place that she's developed to help alleviate that so that she can move forward. It causes an inherent resistance in all of us, fear does. And it's really, truly, when the rubber meets the road, and you feel free to disagree, Pamela, on any of this, but it causes a resistance that keeps us from moving forward. When we know it's the right thing, we just feel that discomfort coming, because we're moving out of our comfort zone. That's really the signal of your subconscious saying it's time to move forward and not just stand still. But fear, huge. Go ahead.
I have a little thing about fear that, when somebody has a decision to make, and they'll say, if I do this, they'll, more often than not, we'll try to take the safe way out. Yes. And I mean, years ago, I learned from Carolyn Mace, one of my favorite mentors that really started me on the path of this. And she said, when you make a decision and take the safe way out, she goes, you just signed on for a major lesson. And because you're better throwing a dart at the map and saying, I'll move there versus, I'm going to move here because it's a better salary and, it has better benefits and all of that. Even though I really don't want to go here, I'm going to move here because of, all the rational reasons we tell ourselves why. But it ends up hurting us in the long run, because we're not taking our soul's guidance, we're taking the ego or the fear's guidance. But when it comes to making a decision, what I recommend is, it's like if we base a decision in fear, I said it's like planting a seed in toxic soil. So what's going to be the result of that fruit? When we, nothing good is going to come of it. And so at some point it's going to yield something that we're not going to be happy or healthy or at peace with. So just wanted to interject that.
I love that. I love it. Please.
You bring up things like, ooh, here.
Yeah, and please do, because I find what you do very, very fascinating. And I know so many people can be helped as a result. We were talking a little bit right before the show about a couple of personal things, and I wish I had known you existed some time ago. Let's just put it that way. We'll cover that or we won't. It doesn't matter either way. But you have some fascinating experience, and you have some fascinating talent and some amazing results that I want you to be able to tell everyone. In fact, let's we talked about mind, body, business. So real quick, let's just shift into body. It's very obvious to me that you are very physically fit. And so kudos to you. It's not a simple thing to keep going if you are not already in the habit and discipline, such as Pamela. And so I kind of know the answer to this question, but I'd like for you to be able to say it in your own words. How important is physical fitness to you, your business, and in your personal life?
Oh, it's so important. My background got started off in the health and fitness arena, so I've been at it since I was about 18 years old, and even before that, growing up cheerleading, climbing trees, and everything else. So I've been physically fit my whole life, and it's very important because if you don't take care of your body, all the other things you want to do in life, it's not going to support you in that. So staying physically fit is really critical. But what I found about 15 years ago, after, been pretty strictly, all health and diet and exercise and all of that, that there was a component missing. And when my kids were little, I had 3 kids in 5 years, and, the internet was just getting up and running. And I was always looking for ways to help people help themselves. And so I ended up becoming a big research nut, and one thing would lead to another. And I found the importance, of EFT, energy medicine, and ways to help people heal that, there's not a negative side effect. It either works or it doesn't, but there's no negative side effects like so many medications. So that was one aspect of it. But really what got me on the whole forgiveness aspect was a conference call that I was on with some cancer doctors out of a facility in, I believe, North Carolina. And they had done a study and found that everybody at their facility who had a chronic or terminal condition had a major unresolved forgiveness issue. And that when some of them were able to resolve it, they had a miraculous healing that couldn't be attributed to anything else. And when I got off the phone, I thought, love and forgiveness is at the foundation of practically every religious and spiritual practice. And though we all know we should be more loving and forgiving, how many of us actually apply that on a regular basis? And so I started doing more research in that arena, and I found articles from Johns Hopkins and Mayo and a lot of Western hospitals that were touting the importance of forgiveness and how that contributed to heart disease and strokes and blood pressure and cancer too. And that's how I ended up at the cancer clinic in Tampa, Florida. I met Dr. Garcia at a forgiveness event or a workshop that we were attending, and he was one of the first medical doctors I'd come across that knew the importance of resolving anger. Because he said, if something's eating away at you, what does that sound like? And Bruce Lipton's work, I know I'm kind of going all over the place with this here, but Bruce Lipton's work supports that and saying that, if we just there's not one cancer gene. We have to create an environment that supports cancer. There's like only 7 diseases that actually have one gene that dictates you can get the disease. And so much of this is about, the mindset. And so the emotional fitness to me, has trumped the physical fitness, because if we don't get our head straight, nothing else is going to flow. So.
Oh man, this is phenomenal, because it falls right in line with everything I've taught from stage and everywhere else. It starts up here. That's the bottom line, is it starts up here. And I can't wait to hear more about what you said. You said that you met a cancer doctor and you talked to him, and you told me off camera that seems to be now one of your focuses. And I think that's phenomenal. And if you don't mind, would you go through a little bit of your experience working with cancer patients? How long what are the sessions like? And then what is your success rate? And I don't know, just tell us about that, because the little you told me right before camera just really piqued my interest. And if it piqued mine, I'm almost certain it will pique everyone who's watching interest, because most every one of us either have a family member that's either had cancer, maybe themselves have had it, or they know someone who has close to them. And so it's a huge, huge topic. If you wouldn't mind sharing with everyone, how does that whole thing work, and what have your results been?
Well, my experience at the cancer clinic was one of the best experiences of my life, because it was just such a fertile environment to work one-on-one, back-to-back with patients, and see consistencies in stories and situations that people experience, and everything from their past, and almost everything comes from our childhood at some level. So between that and my own experience growing up and things that happened in my life, I just blended this whole, what I call the forgiveness healing process, is what came out of it. And basically, to summarize it, is I would get to the root cause of the patient's, like, one of the biggest events in their life. I call it this game-changing event. And so when something happens, somebody dies or leaves, or you get hit, or something that breaks your view or changes your view of the world from, this is a loving, safe place, to all of a sudden, oh my gosh, somebody could die, or, somebody's going to hurt me. And all of a sudden you don't feel loved or safe anymore. And when we start seeing the world through the eyes of fear, worry, stress, I'm not good enough if I'm not, if I'm not doing a good job at school or whatever, if my parents are on my case, then then, I want to please them. But, I mean, at some level, subconsciously, it's like, I'm not safe. They're not going to take care of me. So our need is so great. And so that's what I would end up doing at the clinic, is I would get to this game-changing event. And that is where everything is rooted in, and I'd uproot that tree versus what's going on now. Oh, I'm going through a divorce, or somebody died and it's really stressful and they show up with cancer. But the cancer didn't start, 2 years ago. I mean, most doctors will tell you that that tumor's been in there for 10 years, even before they'll find it. Wow. But again, it's creating the environment in our inner world that supports cancer or fibromyalgia, or, to me, I don't care what label they give a disease, whether it's addiction or, hypertension. It's we're not at ease with life. And that's what I would do at the clinic, is get to the root cause of their dis-ease and go about clearing that and having them see the world through new eyes based on love and truth, which is a heart-based approach, versus the mind, the ego approach, which is I'm not good enough, I'll never be good enough, I'll never be loved, I'm not lovable, and all of these other situations that come into it.
Fantastic. And what have your results been? You were sharing them with me before we got on camera. This is what will really get people excited.
I've had people, and again, what we do at the cancer, it was an alternative cancer clinic, even though it was run by Dr. Garcia, a medical doctor. We only did life-enhancing and life-supported treatments, so no chemo, radiation, or surgery. So he did everything to boost the immune system, hyperbaric oxygen treatments, and all of that. And so my job, and he's like, basically is, resolve their anger. He's like, there's your office, resolve their anger and whatever is going on with them. And my first week at the clinic is my last patient, first week there. And I was always looking for the things that were making there were big charges of anger in their life. And what I found was, as I always said, anger is like arsenic in the body.
Wow.
But what I found is even more toxic than arsenic is humiliation, shame, blame, and guilt. And so because I was able to identify that, I literally my first session, because again, time is of the essence. It was an outpatient facility, and I would see the patients once a week for anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks if they were there. And, so I only had 6 to 12 hours to help the patients shift their dis-ease, which is a contributing factor, in my opinion, Dr. Garcia's opinion, and many other medical professionals. And again, this is all coming from my world. This is my view. This, a lot of people may not agree with me, and that's okay. But this is what I found has worked for myself and my clients and patients that I've worked with. But that would show up in their blood when they would have a shift. We would get their blood work back, and their numbers would come way down. Their cancer markers numbers would come down within days. And I experienced that again and again. So, and sometimes this was in a clinical setting. So, and we don't know what brought their numbers down. And then sometimes it was in my private practice setting as well. So, and a lot of them were still doing chemo. And I would I would just address the emotional and psychospiritual causes of their disease. So.
This makes total sense to me. I think it was Deepak Chopra, no, it's easy for me to say, said that, our thoughts don't just impact our mind. In fact, our entire bodies are wired, every cell, and every thought permeates your very being, every cell of your body. And so when you're going through anger, guilt, those negative emotions, you're not just impacting your emotional state, you're also affecting your physical state as well, which is really remarkable to understand and learn. And it sounds like the work you're doing is reversing that, taking that anger, the stress, and things that are causing distress in the body to then go away. And the cool thing is you're able to see the markers change so quickly. It's almost like you have a volume knob, and you're able to go turn that cancer volume down by treating your clients. So thank you for doing what you do. And for those watching and listening, share this show, not for me, but for Pamela. Share this show wide and far so that more people are put in front of this amazing woman that might need her help, because this needs to get shared. And on a personal note, I lost my mom to breast cancer. She fought for 16 years. And it was an aggressive cancer. She was a fighter. And I so it would have been really wonderful to have put you in front of her, Pamela, to see what amazing things would have resulted from that. But you know what? We're here now, and I'm not going to look back on things like that. I'm going to stay in the positive myself. But I want for you watching and listening, if you're listening on a podcast, share the podcast. Tell others to subscribe. If you're watching this live, share it right now if you wouldn't mind. If you are watching this recorded, share it. Whatever you're watching it on, find that share button and get this out, because more people need to learn that there is chemo. Chemo is a poison. I watched my mom. I've watched friends. I've watched family members. Good grief. I mean, women losing their hair. I mean, it doesn't matter for man or woman, but it's, you know, quite dramatic when your mom is now bald, right? It's just, it's a poison to get rid of a disease, and when it really could be alleviated, potentially, through Pamela and her mindset approach to relieving stress and all the negative emotions that are causing the very condition that they're experiencing. Did I say anything out of whack there?
That was perfect. Thank you. I mean, and again, it's something I'm very passionate about, because I do see people shift, you know, and sometimes in one session, and I mean, I'll have breakthrough sessions, and people will just, you know, and again, to do work that you love, and it touches my heart to know that you can impact somebody's life like that. And basically, you know, I've had more people tell me, you know, thank you for saving my life. I mean, how do you, you know, it's just like, you know, I mean, it's just so what I'm here to do. And I mean, I'm just blessed that I just followed the bouncing ball, and and evolved it to what it is, and it helps people. So
my gosh, what a gratifying experience that must be, over and over. Oh my goodness, man. I mean, so here's the thing, you know, Pamela has a business to do this, and for her to operate, and this is a business concept, for her to operate and scale, because what I'd love to see happen for Pamela is to scale bigger and farther. And to do that, it requires capital to come in so that she can build systems and hire more people and do that. So let's support her in this and help her to scale this and help save the lives of our loved ones, of our friends, to have that impact. It's so cool how you described the shift, because we were talking before we came on, I think it was before, about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which also is a mindset tool. It's a phenomenal tool. And I've gotten to take students from stage through processes, and you literally, like you said, you see the shift happen. Mm-hmm. And the gratification that it gives me, and like I'm sure with you even more, because you're saving a life, but the gratification that you had some positive effect on someone's life is immeasurable. Right. Immeasurable.
And again, Brian, what's so important that everybody understands that, you know, everybody's their own healer. I mean, I just, you know, just something that I've put together and that's evolved, and it's just something I perfected over time. And each session I do, I just bring something else in, or learn something, and it applies to something else. But people have to be willing to change, you know. Yes. And, you know, I do a lot of quit smoking, addictions, that kind of thing. And people are like, can you, you know, help my son quit smoking? And I'm like, well, sure. Does he want to quit? Well, no. So, well, then I can't do anything, you know. So, you know, so people that are ready and willing, and it's about applying the work. Because a lot of people say, oh, yeah, I've read, you know, 50 books on that. I've gone to this conference and whatever. And it's like, well, do you apply what you learn or what you read? And, you know, because if you don't apply it, it's just one ear and out the other. And, you know, our natural state is loving, compassionate, kind, gentle, all of this. And we learned anger. We learned, you know, to get, you know, we learned stress, all of that. And so we can go back to that. We can unlearn that, and that'll be our natural state. You know, what's normal is drug addicted, anxious, worried. You know, everybody has anxiety now, you know, and why? Is because we're not here. You know, we can't be anxious. Right now, everything's okay. In this moment, you know, and so there's so many little tools about being here now. And I would text the patients, you know, like, where are you? It's like, not to tell me if they're at the grocery store, but it's just like to be present, you know. And because again, when you get that diagnosis, it's like, okay, well, I'm cancer free now, but is it going to come back? Is there ever any peace for cancer patient, you know? And well, oh, I'm good right now, but in the back of their mind, you know, am I going to stay good, you know? And and it's that fear, it's that belief. And I go back to Bruce Lipton's work that is so critical, that your belief is everything. We cannot create anything without a belief contributing to it, whether we think we're doing it or not. It's a subconscious belief. And if we don't uproot that and start inputting, you know, the positive ways of viewing the world and ourselves and life, you know, it's going to win.
Love it, love it. And I wanted to give a shout out to a couple people that are watching live. Thank you so much for John Barancho and Oren Checkmate Hudson for sharing this video. Please, more of you do the same during the live, after the live, through all the different platforms that this show is on. It's on many, including it will also go up on Roku. For those of you that know what that is, that's an on-demand television service, and also Amazon Fire TV. This is definitely going out sooner than others because the word needs to be, if you're okay with that, Pamela, the added exposure to get this word out, because this is hitting me really close to the heart, and I just can imagine the happiness that would result from you impacting others' lives and their families. It's not just one person that you're impacting. And you know that. I know you know that. Anyone and everyone that loves that individual or are friends with that individual, they are directly impacted by what you have helped them do. And yes, please go to Pamela only if you're ready and willing, and you're ready. And just many will say, yeah, I'm ready, but you really need to be ready. So don't waste your time is what I'm trying to say, and get to that point as fast as you can, though. Please do. Become ready to get past whatever is holding you back. You mentioned so many things you do, Pamela. You had a point. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. So I too, you know, people say, oh, forgiveness is so hard, or, you know, letting go of the stress is so hard. And what I tell them, you know, I've lived life both ways. I didn't wake up like, well, maybe I woke up like this when I was born, but, you know, I mean, 3 years of life. And I mean, a lot of what changed my game-changing event was when my brother died at, I was 11 and he was 21. He died suddenly of an aneurysm. Yeah. And so what I decided is it's not safe to love, because I loved you, you know, tomorrow you could be gone too. And so I'll love you a little bit, but not too much, you know. And so what I realized in that, instead of protecting myself from getting hurt, I was robbing myself of the love that I came here to do and be. And so when we start seeing where these, you know, events come from and how to turn them around and use the things that have happened to us in our past to be the launching pad to not only heal ourselves and heal others, you know, but again, there was a lot of anger and blame, you know, at the doctors and different things that went on at the time. I was angry at my brother for dying and ruining my perfect family, you know, because life was good. And then all of a sudden, you know, my family was devastated. So, you know, there was a lot of anger in there that I didn't even realize I had until one day my sister played a Tim McGraw song and it was called Angry All the Time. And she goes, this reminds me of you. And this was like 2001 or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Wow. And that's when I started getting into this work. And, you know, so I've lived life both ways. You know, I don't pretend, you know, and again, we heal ourselves and then we show other people the way. And so I've walked my talk, and I mean, I'm still learning, growing, and evolving, but it has really helped. Like I said, I'm applying what has worked for me and worked for thousands of other people. That, you know, it's not hard to forgive. I mean, it's harder not to. I mean, it's harder to be angry your whole life, you know, I mean, and to carry that with you. So
one of the things I truly love about you, Pamela, is your integrity it just oozes off of the screen, because everything you just said, that you've been through this. I've seen so many entrepreneurs that are out there just for a fast buck, and they'll say, you know, they'll give you advice, and then I'll ask them, oh, how has that worked for you? Oh, I don't actually do it myself. I just think it's good for you to do it. I'm like, wait, what? That's
right.
Not congruent. Next. And obviously what you do, I can't imagine it would be anything but congruent and integrity-based. And so appreciate the fact that you said that, because a lot of people will look at a successful person like you, like me, and think, oh, they got it easy. They're on easy street. They're successful. Nothing comes difficult to them. They've never had hardships, right? The cool thing is, because you had the very hardships that you did, you're able to help those people because you're so aware of what that did to you in the past. So it's amazing. It makes it even better.
Right. Well, and I see, again, how that evolved into the work that I do today. So the decision I made to put the wall around my heart is I help my patients and clients see, what decision did you make? You know, and it can come down to one comment, you know, and one comment a parent made or a coach made, and they believe that, like, you'll never be as successful as your sister. The young man literally worked himself into a grave because he had to prove he was, you know, a success with the salary, the title, and all of that, you know. And so we don't know why we're doing things the way, why we're actually navigating the world the way that we are, is because if we don't uproot that one belief that I'll never be as successful as my sister, then I'm going to be, working myself into the grave until you realize I need to undo that. That's not what I'm here to do, is to prove to my mother that I can be, you know. This was a client of mine, but, you know, I mean, and he became cancer free with us and all of that. But again, it's just one comment, Brian, is what I found. It could be one statement a parent's made, and that's what's so scary being a parent. I mean, I've made those statements, and, you know, so I've gone in and cleaned all that up with my kids, or as much as I'm aware of, or they've let me be aware, you know. So, yeah, but again, it's a phenomenal process, and it's thorough and effective because it's heart-based, not the mind-based, you know. And that's why it's a very different approach, because we start digging around in the subconscious mind, and we're going to be there for a couple hundred years, and we'll die way before we ever get through it all. So
it's amazing that how powerful words can be, and on both in a positive light and a negative light. And I mean, there's times we've all done it where you say something and you know that moment, you're like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have said that. That was really bad. That's going to hurt and might not go away for a while. But the thing is, it's a serious thing. We need to be mindful of not just what we say, but how we say it, because
sure.
So it's very true. And it's not to put anybody into this spiral of guilt, worrying about, am I saying it right? You know, it's just, it's a process. It takes time. For some to change their thought patterns so that they're not always shouting negative things at their spouse, their siblings, their significant others, their family members. And it's a process, and Pamela can help you with that. I can tell many of the things you have discussed are very similar to the work I've been involved with NLP, not nearly to the extent that you have, for sure. Limiting beliefs, that's a big one. Getting rid of negative emotions, another big one. Those are where we start, and that's the perfect place, because that's where everything stems from. As you know, I'm preaching to the choir big time here. Speaking of fear, I'm just curious. I wonder if this would be interesting to find out. We all have fears. Still to this day, I have fears, even though I have the tools to eradicate them, as you do. What would you say is your greatest fear, and then how do you go about managing that fear?
My greatest fear is not living up to my full potential.
Wow.
And, I kind of use at the end of my life, what am I going to regret not having done versus what as they say, most people don't regret what they've done, but what they didn't do. And so that's what really spurs me on. And because I know I've been playing small for way too long. And, I've been wanting to fly under the radar for my own reasons. But I know it's time to come out of the shadows and just share this on a bigger scale. And, I'm ready now. My kids are grown, and now I've got the time to do this.
You are ready. And on that note, once again, I will reach out to our audience and say, please share this video right now. No matter if you're watching it live or recorded, or if you're listening on podcast, share your resource that you're listening to and watching this on. Whether it doesn't matter where you are, if you're in a car, pull over and share it before you forget, because it's that important to get the word out for this amazing woman, what she does for others who are, not only for the people themselves that are suffering, but their families that surround them. Oftentimes it's the family members that are going through it harder than the actual patient, who is the one physically going through the horrible condition that they're in. My goodness, it happens every time. We're only 5 minutes away from an hour. So for everyone watching, listening, Pamela, we're just going to go on and make it a marathon and go maybe 10 more hours, if that's okay.
Okay, good.
I'm just kidding.
No problem. I've got so much. It's like I do a brain dump, you know. Yeah.
But on a serious note, there is one more defining question that I would like to ask you, Pamela, and it's something I've asked every guest before before you came on, the same exact question, and it may take a moment to think about the answer. It may come to you instantly, but what I want to do is get to that. But before we do, real quick, all the people that are on watching, waiting, how do I win that vacation? Well, we're going to reveal how to do that right now. So everyone watching live, whether it's Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, the list goes on. There's 9 platforms simultaneously. Here is how you enter to win. You either go to the URL, the website, themindbodybusinessshow.com/vacation. That's themindbodybusinessshow.com/vacation. And just fill out your information there. Or if it's easier for you and you don't want to move away from this show at the moment, you can pull out your smartphone and text the word PEAK, that's PEAK, to the number 661-535-1624. Again, that's PEAK, P-E-A-K, to 661-535-1624. You have my permission to do that right now. And that is sponsored once again by the wonderful Jason and Rhonda at powertexting.com, an amazing service. In fact, in either case, if you go to the website or you text directly, it is using powertexting.com's amazing technology to make this happen for you. And they are the ones also providing this amazing, amazing trip, a 5-night stay at a 5-star resort in Mexico. It is phenomenal. Oh, and on that note, before we get into this wonderful question, a little birdie told me that, Pamela, you might have something for the viewers as well. So if you wouldn't mind letting them know what that's all about, I'll let you lead that, and just go ahead and take it away.
Well, I would love to offer anybody who's watching or is interested to have a complimentary 30-minute session with me. So the best way to set that up is to email me at pamela@pamelagregory.com and say that you'd like to claim your free consultation, and let me know how to get in touch with you, and we will set it up.
Wow. And what type of person would benefit most from this talk? Would someone that is going through an issue, or someone as a family member that's going through it, both?
Well, most people are going through, I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, everybody in the world, and that's why we need to be compassionate with everyone, because we're all going through something in some area of our life all the time. And some people are going through harder things, than others, but, we all could use, somebody who has, a way out that can make the way a little bit easier. And that's what facilitators or coaches do. But I mean, people who are going through grief, somebody that's, I've worked a lot with those who have had suicide in their family. There's a lot of guilt over that. And, so again, when we come from a place of love and understanding and honoring the person, it just takes the different charge. Again, when we see the world through eyes of love, love is what we see. And I really lead with that, and the more we can do that, the faster we heal. So anybody, people are going through a lot of things right now. I mean, breakups are huge right now. I mean, there's a lot of breakups going on. So that's true. And and you cannot take a pill to heal a broken heart. And all these medications that people are taking. It's you're only treating symptoms, and we didn't get into any of that. But we're treating symptoms versus causes, and so. Want to heal from a broken heart? Let me know. I'll help you out.
Perfect. Please do reach out to her. And again, we're almost at the end, but hit that share button. Keep it going. Keep it coming. I thank you for everyone with all the loves, likes, and shares throughout this show. And now to get back to that defining question. And so to kind of ease any thoughts that might be going through your head right now, Pamela, about, oh my gosh, what is this secret question he's going to ask me? To ease that, I want to let you know that the only correct answer to this question is yours. In other words, there is no such thing as a wrong answer, because it is unique to every individual. And to date, I just know it's going to happen, but up till now, No two people have answered this the same way on my show. It's pretty cool. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Pamela Gregory, how do you define success?
Oh, I love that. Success is being happy and at peace with yourself and knowing you're being the best version of yourself as you can possibly be today. So that's what I aspire to. And to me, success is not a bank account. It's being at peace with who and what I'm being in the world and showing up as fully and powerfully as I can.
I love that. And once again, true to form, no one else has answered it that way. And I love that. Happy and being at peace with myself. That is Pamela Gregory's definition of success. It's a beautiful definition. It's hers. You know, there's no judgment of good or bad. There is no such thing as a bad definition of success. And what I love that you added to that was it's not about a bank account. And that's the one common thing I did find about every entrepreneur that's been on this show as my guest. Not one of them had their primary reason as being money related. You know, it's when I get my first $2 million or when I, you know, get my first airplane. None of that. That's never happened. Some mention it in passing at the end. And the only reason they do it is because when they make more money, they're able to serve more people and help more people, which was their number one reason for success. So it's just amazing. I love asking that question. And I'm going to
Great question.
Yeah, and I'm going to compile a book of all the answers, and so give you all credit for that. And I'll get your permission ahead of time so you can see what I wrote and make sure it's congruent with what you said. We'll make sure that, and that's just how we roll here, integrity based. So to contact Pamela, it's Pamela at PamelaGregory.com. Not too difficult. Go ahead and do that. Or you can go to our website, which is PamelaGregory.com, and I'm sure there's a contact link there. I'm looking myself. Yes, there is. Contact us. You can do it right through her website. But please, 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 once again, share this show. And let's get the word out. And not just share it, tag Pamela Gregory in your shares. Friend her on Facebook so that you can do that. Get ready for a lot of friend requests there, Pamela. And that's good. You are ready, and we're ready to help you to expand this really far and wide, and to help you scale this to the point where let's just put it out there. Let's eradicate cancer. Let's eradicate stress and disease. And you know, again, show up if you are willing and ready for help. Take her up on her offer. Take her up on her offer. Email her, connect with her, and have that call. How much does it cost, Pamela? Zero. Your time. And you can already tell, look at this woman, and if you're listening, you can hear it, that there's no hard sell on the end of this. She's just going to ascertain if you are at a point where there might be an opportunity to help. Am I right in saying that, Pamela? Absolutely.
Yeah. And people have had just shifts in that consultation. I mean, obviously, so this isn't to upsell or anything. I mean, it's just to point them in the right direction, and if it helps, it helps. So go from there.
Heart-centered, changing lives literally, and lives of those around that person, their family, their outreach. I so appreciate you, Pamela, for being on. Oh my goodness, this has been amazing. One more time, share this, please, for those of you watching and listening. Let's help Pamela to really scale this thing up and help those who are dealing with stress-related diseases and disorders. So Pamela, thank you once again. Thank you all for coming on and watching live and commenting. I saw a lot of comments coming in, likes and loves and some shares. Thank you so much. I kind of hate to bring it to an end, but Pamela, we must do it out of respect for everyone's time.
Thank you yours. So much. Thank you, Brian, and thank you everyone who's watching.
Absolutely. And that is it. We will see you all again next week on the Mind Body Business Show. For now, I am Brian Kelly on behalf of Pamela Gregory, the magnificent Pamela Gregory. Please share this show one last time, and we'll talk to you again on the next show. Be blessed. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.